Hello, I'm Dr. Heidi Brumbaugh, creator of the Vocab Victor word learning app. And today I'm going to talk to you about how you can use our software to up your classroom vocabulary game and help your students become vocabulary winners. Okay, a quick overview of this talk. I'm going to tell you what Vocab Victor is. I'm going to dive a little deeper into the pedagogy and linguistics that underlie the app. I'll give you a game demo and talk about how the pedagogy is applied to the games that your students will be playing. And finally, I'll show you some great tools that you can use to use Vocab Victor and up your teaching game. First off, what is Vocab Victor? Vocab Victor is a game, and I wanted to make it a game not because I love games, although I do, and not because games are fun, although they are, but I really wanted to meet my users where they digitally live. I originally imagined a student who was, an adult learner of English and maybe played little games on their phone on the way to school. I wanted to catch them in that moment and have them practice their vocabulary instead. Vocab Victor is available for the Apple, iPhone, and Android, all Android devices. It's free. Your students can download it from the App Store and get started. I base the game in Victor's Tower, and this is where the games are played. And I tried to make it kind of have a familiar motif, so you have to finish each level as you go through the tower, and as you do, you level up and increase your rank and so forth. So now I'm going to talk about the pedagogy here. I'm going to talk about the different types of word knowledge that Victor teaches, especially the word associations. I'll talk about how it repeats words in different contexts and uses this technique called stealth assessment to estimate the learner's vocabulary size, which leads to dynamic game creation. Every time you play the game is different. So Vocab Victor is made up of 4 different games, and each game is designed to teach a different type of word knowledge. First, I want to talk a little bit about word associations because this is a particular type of word knowledge that I think is especially important. What do we know about mental lexical networks? Well, we know that in the mind, words are stored associatively. So if I say butterfly, you say caterpillar, cocoon, flutter, or you might have more general matches like color, yellow, pretty, summer, or you might have associations like madam, which we recognize as collocational associations. And one of the important things that we know about mental lexical networks is that native speakers have very rich associative networks. In contrast, non-native speakers have extremely sparse networks. So one of the things that I'm trying to do with Vocab Victor is to have the learner have a more native-like network of lexical associations. So next I want to talk about repetition, which, as everybody knows, is extremely important when you're talking about word learning, language learning in general, and really anything that you want to memorize. So the beginning learner's experience, they tend to learn words very, very quickly. And I spent a lot of time thinking about that, but I think that the reason why is that they are seeing the more frequent words, so they're easier to remember because they just see them all the time. From your brain's point of view, these words are like a movie theater size bucket of popcorn, book, 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 teacher, 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 one after another. Of course they're going to remember these words. But the problem is that once they get into the intermediate level vocabulary, the words are less frequent and they're harder to remember. So you think about going to a cocktail party, you meet somebody, you have a great conversation, and then you see them again 6 months later. Of course you don't remember their name. So I'm trying to strengthen the knowledge of frequent words, but I'm also trying to teach intermediate level words using repetition so that the exposure that they have towards these mid-level words is more like the high frequency beginning words. So one of the tricks that Vocab Victor uses is something called stealth assessment. And as teachers, when you see these games, you might realize that even though they're very colorful and they've got graphics and sound and hints and all this stuff, a lot of them look suspiciously like multiple choice tests, which they kind of are. And what I'm doing is constantly assessing which words they're learning, which words they get right, which words they get wrong, and doing an analysis of that, both so that I can repeat the words until they're learned, but also so that I can make hypotheses about their learning level. So when I introduce new words at that level, they're kind of learning the next word that they should be doing. So each game that is played is unique, never before seen. The main idea: strengthen knowledge of known words, especially by improving the mental lexicon with more word associations. Onboard different types of word knowledge, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I show the games, and boost memory through repetition and introduce new words at their level. Okay, so I'm going to dive into these game demos. Like I said, 4 different games. Our first game is called Word Find. It's a word search puzzle game. It does a couple things here. One is that it teaches words through passive exposure. So each puzzle is made up of words that are based around one keyword, like new in this case. So the idea is that even if you don't know exactly what these words mean, or even if they're new words, you still start to build up the idea of, well, I don't know exactly what this means, but I know it's related to this concept. And this is actually how students learn words by reading, as they build up a little bit of knowledge for each word over time. The other thing about Word Find is that it is a focus on form activity. You can't find the words in the puzzle without thinking about how they're spelled. I want to show you what happens at the end of every game in Vocab Victor. We come to this word review screen. And in this screen, if you want to, you can look at the definitions for the words you just learned. And I really like this because right when they're thinking about the word, they've seen the word, they found it in the puzzle, they saw it with these other words, maybe they have some idea about it. While that word is in their span of attention, they have the opportunity to look at the definition and maybe kind of get a better sense for exactly what it means. So the next word game I have is called Word Lock, and this is a definition game. All of the definitions that you'll see in Vocab Victor are from the Merriam-Webster Learner's Dictionary, which is written to be understandable to your learners. A lot of times, so in this game you see the definition, pick the word that matches that definition, and this game gets harder as you climb up Victor's Tower. You might have, instead of 2 words, 3 words or 4 words to choose from. And because the words repeat throughout the games, if they do see the same word in this game more than one time, they'll see a different definition for each word. So start to kind of build broader knowledge for the word. The third game I want to show you is called Word Drop, and I'm really proud of this game. I designed it to leverage the power of guessing, because what researchers have learned is that students have knowledge about words even if they don't think they have knowledge about words. So this is a sorting activity, and you answer the question, is this word closer in meaning to this word or the other word? And so the idea is, well, I don't know exactly what culinary means, but I think it's closer than cooking. So they guess and they got it right. And if they do, then it kind of encourages them a little bit and say, oh, I guess I knew that word a little better than I thought I did. So this word will show synonyms, collocations, and thematic matches such as kitchen and cooking. This is our 4th grade word strike. If you've seen Vocab Victor before, we actually recently moved word strike from the first game to the 4th game, and we did that based on feedback from students and teachers that it was just a little too hard to start out with. It's a matching game, so you pick, you see the word on the target, and you pick the word on the arrow that's closest in meaning to the word on the target. This game mostly comes up with synonyms, and this is the primary game that I designed to really strengthen that mental lexicon. So if they see the word, they know the word, and they know the match, it strengthens their knowledge for the word on the target. Spoiler alert, it also strengthens their knowledge for the matching word. So it's kind of working on multiple different levels at the same time. So that is kind of an introduction to our games and how they're designed to improve your students' vocabulary. I want to talk about some more features that we have for learning. Inside the game, we have a couple things, the progress room and built-in word list. I also want to talk a little bit about the blended classroom and give you an introduction to our new piece of software called Vocab Victor Classroom, which is a new app that lets you connect Vocab Victor with your classroom content, and we're just really, really excited about this. So as your students are playing this game from the main tower, anytime they want, they can go into our progress room. Now, this is a place where they can see and study the words which are currently being learned. And they can see how close each word is to being learned. Like this word kitchen is almost done being learned, and we just saw that in the previous game. And they can also study the definitions, again, learner friendly. We have a gamified goal, so the more words they learn, the more they rank up. They start at a peasant, and then they go up to emperor. And so after they've learned the words, it goes into the learned category, and they can review those words as well. Another feature that we have for learning is word lists. So these are built-in lists that let your students focus their studies. So we have the new general service list, we have the new academic word list, a TOEIC list, business list, and there's one more. There's one from IELTS with Fiona. And so they can look at these word lists, and if they just want to be a little bit more focused, like if Vocab Victor is giving them words that are too hard or too easy, or if they're in school and they really want to learn academic words, they can buy one of these word lists, and they pay for them with charms, which they can win in the game. And then after they purchase the word list, they're in this My Word List category. And they can look in, they can see their progress for the word list, they can see all the words in the word list, how far they are from learning it, and this will really help them, because if they study the words then come up in the games, then they'll have a little bit more success in the games. I want to talk about Vocab Victor in the blended classroom. I don't think that computers can or should teach foreign languages. Maybe someday they'll be able to teach foreign languages. I'm not necessarily convinced that's a good idea, because I think it misses a lot that's important about language, communication being the main thing. But I do think that computers have a role in the blended classroom. So in the blended classroom, the teachers do what the teachers do best. Computers do what they do best. And in this case, teachers will inspire, encourage conversation, develop curriculum, and guide the learning path. Computers, on the other hand, are really good at boring tasks like counting things, remembering things, maintaining a database. We have 15,000 words in our database and millions of word relationships, the way they kind of match together. If you want to integrate Vocab Victor in your classroom, I recommend you encourage your students to download it and do it in its homework, like 10 minutes a day or something. Just play a few games and reinforce your vocabulary. From the very beginning, when we started showing this app to teachers, they were immediately, "We love it. Can I enter my own list?" And so we've developed a new tool called Vocab Victor Classroom that lets you create your own word lists and assign them to the students, track your progress, and encourage competition with the class leaderboard. So I'm going to do a quick demo about that. Vocab Victor Classroom, it's not a smartphone app. It actually runs in your web browser. It's designed to be run from your computer or maybe a tablet. Launch it from our website, vocabvictor.com/classroom. You have to create an account, which is required but free, and you have to create a school, and it comes with a free trial. So here we have the main web browser app. We had to put it in the browser, so you have lots of room. You create a school. The only thing we need here really is the name of the school, your country, and it does require an email address if there's something going on with your account. We just really need to be able to contact you about that. The next thing that you do is create a class, and this is, again, pretty straightforward. A class belongs to a particular school, and when you create the class, it comes up with a code, and the class code is the thing that is going to connect everything up. So send an invitation. We have a form to let you send an invitation to students and telling them about downloading Vocab Victor and instructing them how to enter in the code. And then at that point, the students go in and join the class inside the app, type in the code, and they are in. As soon as the students are in your class, you can start assigning word lists to them. So you go in, create a word list. You can create a word list. I think our max is 30 words, which is probably more than I'd recommend. I think 10 or 15 words is a little better. As long as the words are in our database, it will be great. We can't use words that are not in our database because the games won't know how to come up with matches of them. So you put in the words, create your word list, and then the next thing you do is assign it to the students. And again, each of these screens kind of works the same way. Add new assignments, there's your word list, there's your students. Filter it out and then make the assignment. And then as soon as you make the assignment, it's actually going to go into Vocab Victor system and hook that up with the student. And then the students will be able to see the word lists in the progress room. So they'll go into my word list and they'll get to see the word list that you assigned. Now here's the word list that we made. And as soon as they have the word list set up in their account, the words will come up in the games. So this is kind of how it goes full circle. So the word list will come up in the game. Banana matches with orange, juice, papaya, mango, tropical fruits of that nature. And then from there, you can go back to Vocab Victor Classroom and you can actually go in and view your students' progress. So you can see which word list they have and how far they are in those word lists. And down to the word level, it will actually show you which words they've learned and which words they're still learning. So finally, we have a class leaderboard. As soon as your students are in the class, they can compete on the class leaderboard. And this will come up in the game. They just tap on the leaderboard and tap on the class icon, and it will come up and show all the students in the class that can compete for their words. So that is Vocab Victor and Vocab Victor Classroom. I am really excited about this new product and definitely want to hear from you. Check it out. If you have any questions or any problems, you can reach me at Heidi@vocabsystems.com. Thank you for watching.